can't tell you, I actually have more pride in myself now telling people I do music and comedy than I did when I was an athlete. Because I felt like a statistic as an athlete. You know, you'll be sitting in first class on an airplane. Somebody, well, I know you play football. What else is your black ass doing up here in first class? Like, what?
I,
Oh, you don't play football? What, you a rapper? Like,
oh
and
my
it
goodness.
sucks because like I can't even say like I would lie and say no, I don't play football, but it's like the people knew I was lying to them, and I knew I was lying to them, but they weren't gonna call me out on it because like we about to tussle on the flight. I don't think so. Keep it moving.
Welcome to Body Sculpt of New York, 6 Weeks to Fitness podcast, where we hope to inform, motivate, encourage, and inspire you towards living a healthier lifestyle. And now, here's your host, the president of Body Sculpt of New York, Vince Ferguson.
Hi, I'm Vince Ferguson. Welcome to 6 Weeks of Fitness, episode 186. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have you gained weight during the COVID-19 pandemic? And are you having a hard time taking it off? Well, you're not alone. My next guest is a former professional football player, having played for such teams as the St. Louis Rams back in the day, Los Angeles Chargers, and the Arizona Cardinals. He is also an accomplished musician, mental health advocate, and a comedian, all that rolled into one. And today on my 6 Weeks of Fitness podcast, to discuss his NFL career, his weight loss journey, and what he is doing now to get back into NFL shape is Joe Barksdale. Joe, how are you?
I'm good, and you? I'm doing very good. Thank you for having me.
Man, it's my pleasure to have you on the air on my program today. And I could ask you so many questions, man, because not only were you a professional football player, I can ask you hours and hours of questions about that. But you are also a musician, and you're doing some amazing things with your music career. But not only that, you're a mental health advocate, which is huge today, because a lot of us are having mental issues, all the stuff that's going on, and you're a comedian. What in the world? You know what I'm saying? That's amazing, my brother. But before we talk about this stuff, tell my audience, where did Joe Barksdale grow up, and what was his childhood like?
I'm from Detroit, Michigan originally. That's where I was born and raised. My childhood was unique. Yeah, I'll say it was unique, but I grew up in a household with two parents. I got two little brothers.
Nice.
I grew up on the west side of the city. I am actually from Detroit, Michigan, not from a suburb of the city saying I'm from Detroit.
Right. Yes, the real deal.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, the public school kid from kindergarten until the end of high school. And you know, it's what you would imagine growing up in the city.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah. The peer pressure, you know.
Yeah, you know, the peer pressure to getting robbed at the bus stop, the metal detectors at the school, you know.
Yes.
That kind of stuff.
Wow. Yes, man. Wow. But what inspired you? Because I know you had a lot going on growing up. What inspired you to want to go into the NFL?
That's a good question. No one's ever asked me that.
Oh, my brother.
To be honest with you, I started playing in high school, and I just want to be good at things that I do. And people who were good at the things that I did went to the NFL, you know, because I was playing high school football, you know, back when I was playing in high school and even in college, you know, I always wanted to be, you know, the best at whatever I'm doing. Otherwise, what's the point in doing it? So the best football players were becoming professionals. So I wanted to prove to myself that I could be a professional too.
Did you have any naysayers? Anyone while you were growing up that said, "Oh man, Joe, forget about that. That's a dream, man. You never make it to the NFL."
Oh yeah, I mean, I had coaches in high school that told me, you know,
Coaches.
I was never, like that. I wasn't gonna do anything. I had a teacher call me a statistic for taking a football scholarship.
Really?
Yeah, like it was. I mean, but I think that's everybody's story. I don't think anyone that's ever done anything special has just, you know, everyone behind them has been like, "You got it, baby. You can do it." You know.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like the naysayers, not sometimes, and they say it's part of the journey. It's part of the journey, you know.
Right, right. And
So
that's how you look at it.
yeah, because like I said, if you're trying to do anything substantial, somebody's gonna be talking shit. I mean, I'm sorry, someone's gonna be talking bad about you.
Talking smack.
Talking smack. Yeah.
Same thing.
Because that's what human beings do. No one's ever, and I would say that to people, like, who people are like, oh, people are being so mean to me. Like, people aren't just paying attention to, just anybody. Like, that meanness is more of an insecurity on their end, but it happens. It does happen. Just that's part of being a human being, man. You do something that people want to do, you're gonna have haters, you're gonna have doubters.
Yes.
You're gonna have, and honestly, at the beginning, you'll have way more haters and doubters than you do support. But that's that's the reality.
That is. But through it all, you persevered and you became one of the few that made it to the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
But what did you like best about being a professional football player?
Winning games.
Winning
games, yeah.
Did you do a lot of that?
No.
Oh my goodness, no.
No. But that's why you play. You play to win. That's what you work so hard for. I mean, when you look at like professional football, for example, you got 17 weeks of football, and everything leading up to that 17 weeks, it's hard. You're grinding in the off season. You're doing the summer camps. Getting ready for the season. You start the preseason, that kind of thing. You're doing all of that to win as many of those 16, 17 games as you can. And when you don't win a lot of those games and you don't go to the playoffs, it feels like everything you did was pointless. Because,
Yes.
Yeah.
And you put so much energy into it, so much of yourself. But it is a team sport.
Yeah.
Right. So no matter what you do, even if you're Tom Brady, if you don't have a good, offensive line and a good receivers, you're not going to be able to score those points. You know what I mean?
Right. It's definitely a team game.
So in other words, it wasn't your fault.
I mean, yeah. You're right, but at the same time, it doesn't help. Like it's not very competitive.
Yes. All right. So you like most about the sport is that you like winning. But what did you like? Okay. All right. What did you like least about the sport?
Running.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't.
You're not a runner?
No, I hate running. Like I jog now. Like I told myself when I retired from football that I wasn't gonna run anymore. So now I jog lightly. But I hated running. Like I remember my first time being on a football field and having to do conditioning running and think this is in high school. And I just remember thinking like, "What's my last day? Like this is ridiculous."
Really?
I'm dead tired. Yeah. Like I didn't grow up, athletic or anything like that. So this was, this whole pushing yourself and all that. Like I'm like,
it's not for you.
Yeah, no, it was not for me. I hate running. Like even now when I run, when I do anything where I'm breathing heavy, I gotta wear like headphones.
Okay, keep your mind off of it.
Yeah, because you don't just want to hear yourself dying. So
yeah. So, how long was your NFL career?
I played for 8 years.
8 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's still pretty good, man. And why did you leave the NFL? I mean, was it injuries?
No. Because I was tired of losing. I was tired of being a loser.
Whoa.
I got to the point like I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror.
Really?
Because like I said, you work to win.
Yes, man.
And when that's not happening, you're not fulfilling in your mind your purpose. And when you're not fulfilling your purpose,
what else is it? What else is there? Right?
Yeah, like what's the point? So,
wow.
I knew that there were other things that I did want to do in my life, and I felt like the longer I stayed in the NFL, the longer I'll have to wait to do those things. So it's Dwayne Johnson gave a speech to the Lakers. It's on YouTube, but he talked about like it comes to a point where you just get tired of like not being the guy, like not being number one.
Huh.
And I felt like I could be number one day when it came to music and comedy and whatever else I do. But it slowly hit me that like, bro, you're not going to the playoffs. You're not winning games. Stop. You
Huh.
know, like stop.
Yes.
Because I look at people like Dwayne Johnson, Drake, even Richard Pryor. Now Richard Pryor pivoted into the same career. You know, he went from like movies to stand up, back to movies. You know, that kind of thing.
Right.
But a guy like The Rock, who started off with wrestling and then felt like this is not what I want to be remembered for doing. And this man is like my most favorite wrestler of all time. That's how I know him.
Yes.
I've known him since then, but it was very inspirational for me to see somebody who had succeeded so much just walk away. Yeah. And I remember when he did it, I mean, like every other fan, I'm like, oh my God, now who's going to smell what The Rock is cooking? Like,
Exactly.
But at the same time, I'm like, I know this dude's not leaving just to sit at home. Right. And look at him now, like.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's the same with Drake. Like I know people. I never watched Degrassi, whatever the name of it. One of those two. But I know people who used to watch that show, and apparently they did like a behind the scenes thing with some of the cast. And
right.
Drake shows up on camera, and he's like, man, I want to be a rapper. I want to tour the world. And he said, my friend said he's watching the show, like, shut up, Drake. Like no one's gonna listen to your music. And now it's Drake.
Yes.
Wow. And I also I met Kobe Bryant while I was playing football, and Kobe,
nice.
He it was the same thing. I mean, he obviously, the plans weren't fully completed, but the man had so much more going on outside of basketball. That was going to be. That's going to eclipse his basketball career. And I'm like, man, if Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Johnson, and Drake can eclipse careers that, in my mind, they were very successful at.
Very much.
My losing ass can do something better than what I'm doing.
That is good. That's amazing, bro, because that's a good lesson for everyone. You know what I'm saying? If you're not really happy where you are, and you'd rather be somewhere else, why not pivot and go do what you feel you're called to do?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, Dwayne Johnson and Kobe, they didn't worry about the money. They had money in their previous careers, but they said, look, I can do better. I can be more fulfilled. And they were right. But you don't know until you step out of that comfort zone.
That's true. And I will say this, as much as I talk about doing those kind of things, I mean, these stories sound great and that kind of thing. But the reality of the situation is, especially as a comedian, I just say it, like you see people all the time who get up on stage and they're like, yeah, man, I decided, man, I quit my job. You know what I'm saying? I'm fully committed to this comedy thing. And then they proceed to bomb, and then you see them like another week and it's like, oh, you bombed again. I gave up my job. I had benefits, and it's like you probably should have stayed with your job. I'm saying that to say, make sure you got people around you that's gonna tell you the truth.
Yes.
You don't want to make one of those big moves and you talk to no one about it. You just want to. I'm a prayer warrior. I'm stepping out on faith, and it's like,
you should have checked with someone first.
You should have checked in with your friends or something. Someone who loves you.
Yes. It's good to have someone behind you. And speaking of which, I know that you battled depression.
Yeah.
Right now, where did that come from?
So I grew up autistic. Well, okay, wait. I found out I was autistic when I was 30. So I didn't know I was autistic until I was 30.
Really? Recently?
Recently.
Yes.
And so growing up atypical, without knowing that you're atypical or other people around you knowing that you're atypical, can present a bunch of different challenges.
Yeah.
You know, there are things that you can do or say that would be deemed disrespectful that you don't even realize because you can't read social situations. That's how I got kicked out of engineering. That's how I got into football in the first place.
Really?
I was at an engineering camp and I thought it was time to play. It was not time to play, and I got kicked out of the engineering camp along with another kid. And I needed something to do over the summer, and that's how I started playing football. And I guess the reason I started playing football was another reason why I was so comfortable. Not comfortable, but I believed. I'm like, I didn't even know anything about football, and I was able to become a professional football player. Like, I know how to be funny. You know, like I know how to make. I know something about music. Like, I know more about these things than I did about football. So logically, I should do much better.
Right.
Objectively speaking, people say that I had a successful football career. I don't agree, but you know, I can't make y'all see it the way I see it. But that's part of the mental illness too. You know, and you know, I mean, it's a result of things that have happened to me. You know, growing up, and I mean, I'm sure like a bunch of other people have said. You know, when you go to therapy and you start working on yourself and figuring these things out, you realize a lot of it comes from childhood. Which is why I said my childhood was unique. So,
really.
like growing up, I thought everybody grew up like me. I didn't realize it was not so.
Not so. Really. I mean, you grew up in a 2-parent household.
Right.
You had other siblings.
Yeah.
As well. So, and you were happy as a child.
No.
There you go. I see.
No.
I see. Now there you go.
I grew up in a very toxic household. I didn't even know what unconditional love was because growing, I was raised more like a pet than a kid, seen, not heard, showing you off to people, talking about you like you're not there, those kind of things, like my mom, stand up, show them how big you are. Yeah, girl, that's the biggest 11-year-old I've ever seen. I'm gonna go broke trying to feed his ass, man. I don't know how we're gonna. I'm like, Mom, chill, shut up, stop being disrespectful.
Oh my goodness.
You sitting here talking bad about me, like right in my face, but I'm doing this. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Stuff like that.
Yes, yes.
I can remember like asking my mom for money. And my mom spinning around, opening up an empty wallet, like, you cost too much. We have no money. Like,
wow.
It like motivated me to make money. Growing up, I knew one thing I was not gonna be was poor.
Wow. Yes, we weren't gonna be broke.
No, because they used to always tell me how expensive I was and how much money they'd have if I wasn't here, and how they wanted a girl and that kind of stuff.
Your parents actually laid that guilt on you for being.
Yeah.
Oh man! But through it all, you persevered. I mean, how's the relationship with your mom and your father now?
I don't have one.
You don't have one?
No.
Okay, I see. Wow, that's interesting, man. Well, are you able to put that into comedy though? What you went through?
Yeah.
Because some people can find it funny until they realize,
Some things you still gotta some things I still gotta work out. Like, like I was sexually abused when I was younger. I didn't trust my parents enough to tell them about it because I thought I was gonna get in trouble.
Wow, man, that's serious.
I don't know how you make that funny, but like,
no, you don't make that funny.
No, there's probably a way, but
you'll find a way.
It just takes time. That's all. You can make anything funny with time.
Well, I'll tell you, your audience will kind of like really want to listen to you though. Once they hear that, they're like, really? What? Yeah,
but like that, I will say that's something that you would probably bring up more at like a mental health discussion. Mm-hmm. Something like that. Not just like, hey guys, how we doing tonight? Y'all came out to have a great time. I was touched. Like, nobody's coming out on a Friday night to hear that.
No.
But, I thought everybody grew up and people got, started getting touched on in daycare. I didn't know that was just me, or not just me, but
a thing, yeah.
Like I thought everybody grew up and eventually had to go shop in the children's husky section at the top of JCPenney.
Not just you. Oh man.
Parents come we come walking through the door. Oh, hello, ma'am, and they look at me. Oh, the boys' husky section is upstairs. Maybe a bit small, and then my mom's like, I know, right? Little nigga keep growing every day. I'm your son. Like,
thanks, Mom. Yes.
Thanks, Mom.
Show me some love here. You know what I'm saying?
But yeah, so that's I don't know. It's weird because whenever I do think about like, and I'm sure anyone who's had a hard time with anything can attest to this. You think about it, and it sucks when you go through it, but at the same time, it also helped make you who you are. The good and the bad. So I try to do a good job of these days of just observing things that happened in the past and not being as emotionally reactive to them, because the reality is we can all look back over our lives and think, wow, that bad thing made me better.
Right. It's what you do about it, It's how you use it as your fuel to go forward,
And you can't use everything as fuel. Some things you do need to let go. Some things you need to,
Yeah. But feeling broke, you use that as fuel to go ahead and make more money.
That's right.
That's good fuel, man. Sometimes we need that. You know what I'm saying?
I do believe everyone needs a goal to work for. Otherwise, what are you doing?
Exactly. But who helped you get through those dark days with depression? Was anybody in your life that kind of came?
I'm still fighting through that. I meet with a therapist twice a week. I'm on medicine. It hasn't gone anywhere.
It's an ongoing battle.
Yeah, it's an ongoing thing. It's an ongoing thing. I do the best that I can.
Yes. You take one day at a time,
That's what I mean by doing the best I can. One day at a time.
One day at a time. Now, I also know that professional athletes, they pride themselves in their physique, their health, their ability to do almost. You never did that as a professional athlete. Really?
Tackle. You ever seen any sexy offensive linemen?
I forgot you're offensive lineman.
Yeah, I was very self-conscious about my body.
Really?
I'm still very self-conscious about my body.
Well, what are you? You're 6'4".
6'5".
6'5". You grew up inches. I researched you. How much do you weigh? How much did you weigh when you were playing ball?
When I was playing, I was in like the 320s.
320, man. That's a lot of man. You know what I'm saying? But right. But now
you don't feel sexy at being 6'5", 320 is what I'm saying. You don't feel your picture of athletic physique. I remember talking to because what offensive linemen look like. And I remember one time they had a group of offensive linemen come talk to kids about health. These are the most unhealthy looking dudes.
Now you telling on the brothers. Oh, okay, man.
No. Because it's just it was. They usually send the young players out to do this kind of stuff. Obviously, some of the young players haven't been in the weight room as long as some of the older players in the NFL, so their bodies are a little looser.
Right, not as tight.
Yeah. And I remember I'm standing in the back, while guys are talking. One kid just raises his hand like, listen, I gotta ask. Are these really the people that should be talking to us about how to eat right?
A kid asked that question.
They stand in front of people for a living.
Yes.
What are they gonna tell me? I don't want to look like this. And I'm ooh, these kids are evil.
They're brutally honest, man. Kids, man. That was cool. But he made a point, though. Are these the best role models you got for us, man, when it comes to health?
Hey, it's funny because I was sitting back there. I'm like, hey, the kid's right.
The kid's right. We gonna put him out the classroom now for speaking?
Right, we can't suspend the kid for telling the truth, can we?
Thank you, man. Thank you. Wow. All right, so at least my next question, though, because of the quarantine, you kind of gained more weight. A lot of people gained a lot of weight. There was something called the quarantine 15, where people felt like they gained 15 extra pounds. Now, how has that quarantine affected you?
I'm just an emotional eater. Let me rephrase that. Emotional eating is something that runs in my family. Leaving a football career to be in a pandemic and not doing the thing that you left football to do,
yes,
will make you very emotionally uneasy.
I bet. Yes.
There was a lot of nervous snacking because you think about it, I retired right before. So it's like I'm leaving to go do this thing, go do this art and all that other kind of stuff, So, one of the reasons I retired was so I could be available to play shows.
Yes.
And then COVID happens, and there's no shows to play.
No shows to play, man.
No shows
Yes.
to play. So there was some emotional eating. I mean, there were not good thoughts going on during 2020 because in my mind, you feel stupid. I can't say you look stupid. I don't know how it looks. I don't know how I look from the third person, but inside I felt stupid. Yeah, I'm like, man, we could have been playing no shows and still be playing football. What you doing?
Yeah, yeah.
But that goes back to what I was talking about earlier with like, if you look back at the hard times, 9 times out of 10 you got better in some way. Like I became a producer during COVID. Like I learned how to produce. Like I went from not knowing how to produce to being a producer.
Wow, another hat.
Yeah, so and I'm very thankful for that. You know. But yeah, that's where my head was, and the beat making and producing in general kind of got me out of that mental funk. Like there's a album called R&Beats Volume 1. I had a mental breakdown like around the time COVID started because in my mind I'm like, wait, so they're closing stores, they're closing all these places down. We can't leave the house. How am I gonna feed the family? I don't know how to cook. Do we even have food here? Like all those things are going through
your head. Yeah, man.
Wow. And in my, working my way back, my wife suggested that I try to, she's like, you like playing with your drum machine. Maybe you can make some beats. Like try to figure out how to, use it. And that's where R&B's Volume 1 came from.
Nice.
And that was my first time producing. And all the music that has been released since R&B's Volume 1 and will be released since R&B's Volume 1. I have produced like all this 52-week. I released a 52-week project this year. I drop one song every Monday for the entire year. It's divided into 4 albums. All of those songs I produced. The album that's coming out next year, all of those songs I was a producer on. So, yeah, and none of that would have happened if it weren't for COVID. So we talking 52 songs. Oh, there was a Star Wars project I did too. That's another 9 songs.
Star Wars.
Yeah, I love Star Wars. You see these lightsabers in the back?
Yeah. There you go.
But yeah. So if it wasn't, COVID was, it's like a tale of two cities. It was the best of times, but it's the worst of times at the same time. Yeah.
Yes, man. So you made it
Yeah.
work for you, but you did gain some additional pounds doing
That's right.
routine, right? But now
Realized that when I started doing comedy.
You realize
You start seeing yourself on camera more, and it's like, whoa. That like that a couple months ago,
But now you started a weight loss program, right? Mm-hmm. Now talk about that.
I started. I partnered with the Center app, which is Chris Hemsworth's. I call it. It's a fitness app, not just a physical fitness app, because there's also, there's a mental health component as well as like, it's one of the few apps I've seen that also gives you like a legitimate amount of like meal options or examples, if that makes sense. It's not just like 5 meals that you got to eat for the next 10 weeks,
Yes.
So, I actually still eat that food now. But that was part of the lifestyle change I was trying to make. So I actually started trying to bodybuild before COVID started. And I had this bodybuilding coach who had been trying to become a professional bodybuilding coach for 20 years.
Really?
I'm sorry. He was trying to become a professional bodybuilder for 20 years.
Oh, okay.
And that was the first thing I thought about. I'm like, hey, make sure that you talk to somebody. 20 years? Like
20 years.
In 20 years, if I'm still right here, you need to call me and be like, hey, bro, you need to chill. Like, it's been 20 years.
It's been 20 years. It's been long enough. Try something else. Try plumbing.
So this dude, I'm working with this super bitter dude who thinks he should be a professional. And it's just, it wasn't a good fit. It wasn't, so I just kind of like let the bodybuilding thing go for a while. But the Center app, it was very reminiscent of the bodybuilding in terms of the clean eating and, the way I was working out. But at the same time, it also made sense. Like it wasn't like the old school bodybuilding where you walking in the gym doing 100 reps of everything and you eating 12 egg whites and
Yes.
drinking water, like
Yeah.
it was, it's something.
Something that you can do, something that was realistic.
Yeah, something realistic.
Yeah, it wasn't.
It's been great. From a physical and a mental wellness standpoint, it's been great. I mean, I have to work out.
Right.
Like I have to work out. I work out 6 days a week, like for my mental health. It has not,
Right.
yeah, for my mental health.
But with the app, it gives you exercise programs that you can choose to
That's
do,
right.
and you follow those routines. You pick the routines you want, and you follow them. Correct?
Yeah. And so so the program I follow was like their advanced gym program that I guess Chris uses to prepare for the Thor roles. I'm
Yeah,
telling you right now.
pretty serious dude.
Shout out to Chris Hemsworth. Hey, that man is working, okay?
Yeah, I see that. Have you met Chris? Have you met him?
I have not. No, I haven't. But
It's a big brother, boy.
yeah, it's gotta. I mean, you gotta be like them workouts. Them workouts ain't easy. I actually got one later on today, but I dig them. I mean, I don't know. I mean, those. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. Those
No.
workouts are the best of times and the worst of times.
Really? So you have to follow the app. The app gives you the different programs to use.
Yeah.
Follow the app. And okay. And it's what is it? How long have you been on the program? How many weeks have you been following the program?
I just started my second round of the 10-week program. So this is week like 12.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what results have you gotten so far?
A lot leaner.
Leaner.
The stuff that I was trying to do, I wanted to lean out. I wanted to drop a clothing size.
Yes.
I wanted to feel good about myself. I didn't want to feel, because the better you feel the more confident you are, the better you're gonna do on stage. And a lot of my time now is spent on the stage, so it comes to a certain point. I'm a big believer in like personal accountability too. And like if I'm uncomfortable on stage at a certain point, it's nobody's fault but mine. Not like people are like, "Hey, bro, let's go get 18 pounds of chicken wings," and cookies.
Yes.
So it's that's definitely part of it too.
Is there any accountability with that app? Anyone you have to be accountable to? Or?
Yeah, the dude I'm looking at in the mirror every morning.
Yeah, exactly. Yourself?
Yeah, because like from a personal standpoint, you're not trying to do all that work and then look at yourself and look the same or worse, So like,
yes,
know the work you're putting in. That's part of it. And then I mean that's the big thing. I don't like wasting my time, and if I'm working out like that and I'm eating bad, I'm wasting my time.
Okay. And the eating part of it is very, very important.
Yeah.
Those meals,
Yeah, I think so. I know so. I mean, I think people think that like if they stop eating tomorrow, they'll just lose weight. And yeah, you will lose weight till you start eating again.
Exactly. And the metabolism slows down. Your body basically goes in starvation mode, holds on to the fat. You know what I'm saying? So that's counterproductive. What is your why? All right. I ask people this because I know once you know your why, that determines how serious you're going to be about losing weight or exercising. Would you say your why is for your own?
You're talking about just for fitness?
Yes. What would you say is your why that you're doing this?
To change the world for people that are like my size. If that makes sense, to make a positive change, to be the change I want to see. So I'm dealing with change. Like, for example, when The Rock got into Hollywood, people were telling him like, "Oh, you're gonna have to lose weight." No one's trying to look that big and swole on camera. Like that's that kind of thing. And he kind of carved out like a path for himself.
Yes.
Like even that people like me will be able to I'll be able to walk through some of those doors that he would open. Hopefully. Fingers crossed, please. But no,
yes, bro. Yes, I believe that. I believe it.
Drake kind of the same way, you go from one form of entertainment to another. Well, they both did,
Right.
And that is my why and everything. To be one of those people that took things in a different direction and was like, and that help people. If that makes sense, because if you do
Sure.
take it in a different direction, you do help people because people see something they haven't seen before.
Yes.
So yeah,
Yes.
that's my.
And also, it gives them a reason to, if you could do it, they can do it. You know what I'm saying?
That's
If
true.
you can, you can surmount those obstacles in your life, then I can surmount my obstacles in my life. You know what I'm saying?
All the time. I'm like, if I can have a professional football career, anything's possible. Like, I don't even watch sports. Like,
You don't even watch sports.
no.
Today, you don't watch football now.
No, I didn't know what football was when I first started playing football. Like, I remember stepping on the field and the coach was like, "What position do you want to play?" And there was this commercial that had been out about Terry Tate, the offensive linebacker. And I was like, that looks like a fun position to play, to keep everybody accountable in the workspace. The office linebacker. And coach was like, that's not a real position in football. Oh. He's like, well, what's your favorite football team? The college I went to, LSU. I didn't even know LSU existed until I was a junior in college.
Really?
In high school. Yeah. I'm a nerd. I think people think that I grew up and was groomed to be an athlete.
Groomed, bro.
But I was not. I was groomed to be like an engineer, or that's what I thought I was going to be. I thought I was going to be either an engineer or I was going to go to law school. Yeah.
Wow. But you became a professional football player instead by mistake.
Yeah, by mistake. Sometimes you just trip and fall into a professional athletic career.
Yeah, man. Well, you're one of the few people I know that have done that, but that's. But you're parlaying that into other things, like musician now. You're a comedian now. Which of your careers would you want to be more than anything else? I know you're a football player, musician, comedian. Which one would you say is like the top of the list?
Comedy. Because
comedy
is who I am at the rawest form. I would say music is still more polished. I don't curse in my songs.
No.
The subject matter is, it's diverse, but it's not just straight on me talking to you like comedy is. I want to win the Mark Twain Prize for American Humor. I want to be Richard Pryor, Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock, Roy Wood Jr. I want to be a voice of a generation.
Wow.
And, I have the ability to do that, and that's what I'm trying to do. When I'm dead, I want people to see my picture.
Yeah.
And just, you don't have to smile, you don't have to laugh, but just feel good.
Yes.
That dude made people feel good. He was all right, terrible basketball player, but he was all right. Jokes weren't that funny, but he was all right, man. I tell you what, he did a lot of community service. I heard he donated his kidneys to some iguanas.
You want to have impact,
Yeah. I want to be everything that I didn't have when I was a kid.
Right.
I know that there's going to be another kid that grows up like me. In the same way that I attach myself to The Rock, or attach myself even to Drake. I've been following this man since he first started doing music. Okay, I can't say first started doing music. When his music, what am I trying to think of? Comeback season.
Right.
That's when I first found out about Drake. That was before So Far Gone.
Yes.
And I attached myself to his story. I was a big fan of how transparent he was about how he felt about anything. People try to talk shit. People try to crack jokes about Drake. People try to say oh, Drake this, Drake that. Drake is one of the bravest human beings I've ever seen, because it takes a lot to acknowledge your emotions, and it takes even more to go into a studio, knowingly record these emotions that you still dealing with, and release them for the world.
Yes.
Oh, that's a brave man.
Yes.
This album that I'm coming out with next year, actually, it's a very vulnerable album, to the point that I remember listening to the mixes, and I'm thinking yo, do I want to release this? I'm saying a lot. It's, so that's why I say Drake is brave.
Yeah.
I mean, on top of leaving Degrassi to do the rap career that, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. Where Drake was when he left Degrassi to do the rap career. what are you doing? You know,
Right,
but
right.
you hear the music and it's like, oh, the funniest response I get to my music is like, this is actually good.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yes, yes. Well, I went to your YouTube channel and checked out some of your music, and I was really impressed with the music, man. The
Thank you.
arrangement. It was you and another young lady and another guy on the piano or the
Yeah, me
organ.
and my band.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's your band. You have a band.
Uh-huh.
So I was very impressed with that, man. Really
Thank you.
nicely done. You
Thank you.
know, are you intimidated by speaking or singing in front of crowds?
No.
Not at all.
No. The scariest thing to do in front of people was play football.
Really? You're kidding.
It was what I was least familiar with in my life. Like, I remember coaches giving speeches before the game. Come on, guys. It's the game we've all been playing since we were 6. And I'm like, I have not been playing since I was 6.
Not me.
I'm scared to death. Like,
Unbelievable.
you know.
Yes, yes.
But yeah, I would be scared to death before games because I don't, like I said before, my childhood taught me to, like, among other things, it taught me to place real value on what people thought about me. And in my mind, if I wasn't good at what I was doing, then I was worthless. So looking back on it, that fear was not just a fear of failure. It was a fear of failure because if I fail, I'm worthless.
Mm,
You know.
yes.
Whereas now, I get on stage like, yeah, let me show y'all what I've been working on. You know, like it's fun, it's exciting. I mean, being afraid is exciting too, but it's a different type of exciting. Like I have 2 shows tomorrow. I got a music show in Houston, and then I have a comedy show here in Austin.
Really?
And I'm just excited to get on stage. Like I'm not nervous. I'm not stressed. You know, I show up. I do my vocal warm ups for the singing part, but because I think part of it too is like because it's not an act. Like I use my name. It's Joe Barksdale. You know, I don't have to be anybody different. I just get to be myself in front of people.
Yes.
That's
Wow.
easy.
Yeah. Being yourself is easier than being someone else.
Right. People tend to think that the stuff I say is funny. They tend to think that, you know, I hit a couple good notes every once in a while when I sing. So, and here's the deal. I want to win the Mark Twain Prize for American Humor, but I also want to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Serious goals.
Yeah. I want to be one of the best to ever do it.
Wow. Well, let me tell you, man, this has been amazing. I could speak to you for hours because you have such a deep background of stuff that you've done. And I think when someone sees someone like you, they're like, okay, I can see why he was an athlete. But you're like the athlete who didn't really want to be an athlete. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather be a comedian.
Yeah, to be honest with you, like I can't tell you, I actually have more pride in myself now telling people I do music and comedy than I did when I was an athlete. Because I felt like a statistic as an athlete. You know, you'll be sitting in first class on an airplane. Somebody, well, I know you play football. What else is your black ass doing up here in first class? Like, what? Oh, you don't play football? What, you a rapper? Like, it sucks because like I can't even say I would lie and say no, I don't play football, but it's like the people knew I was lying to them, and I knew I was lying to them, but they weren't gonna call me out on it because like we about to tussle on the flight. I don't think so. But you know, like I don't know if people really know like how dehumanizing that is. You know, to just be like, oh, you're the football player.
Right.
Like, it's like me running up on R. Kelly. Don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here defending R. Kelly, but the man has done more than what he's going to jail for. So I just been, oh, you're that rapist. Like
that's what he's known for now.
Yeah, that's what he's known for. But that's not the only person he is.
Right.
If you really want to talk about it, he wasn't born that way either. Something happened to him. Between being born and the court case. Now, granted, I'm not sitting here trying to defend anybody or put my 2 cents in. I'm just saying people aren't born that way.
Right. Something has happened.
I would argue some of the same things that led to him being that person were also some of the same things that helped him make such great music.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Like Richard Pryor. Thank God for Richard Pryor. He was the only comedian I've seen that I had seen at the time that had grew up Like I'm like that I heard him talk and I'm like, oh, okay, this dude would understand me. Like, you know, like from a background and
Right.
growing up, you know, type thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Wow, deep, man. Yeah, pride was no joke. You
No,
know?
no pun
Yeah.
intended. No.
Yeah, no pun intended. Yeah, no joke.
But yeah, no, he was a real deal.
Good.
And he was himself. All those people that I've talked to you about so far, Dwayne Johnson. I mean, even when he granted you The Rock because you're a wrestler, but like immediately, I'm Dwayne Johnson now. Even though I'm still calling that man The Rock. I'm sorry.
Yes, exactly.
Like that's his middle name. You know, Richard Pryor. Like those guys have shown me that like being yourself, you know, being yourself is good enough.
It's good enough. Wow. Awesome, man. Joe, how can my audience find out more about you? Where can they go and how can they follow you? Give me some
I'm selling PlayStation 5s on eBay right now. No, I'm just. You can find me on Craigslist. But
not on the unemployment line, right? Okay.
Yeah. If you're just walking down the street downtown and you see a brother with a cup, that may or may not be me.
Joe Barksdale.
I saw you on the podcast, brother. How you doing? Here's $5. You play football, huh? Oh,
yeah.
all right.
Yeah, bro.
JoeBarksdale.com is the website. On social media, it's JBDALE72. But usually I just tell people to Google Joe Barksdale. Like, usually the football player will come up and you can go from there. But yeah, that's the easiest thing. Usually it's like, just Google Joe Barksdale. Because I see people sometimes, honestly, it's a pet peeve of mine. Like, when people get off stage and they're like, all right, like, for example, if I'm like, all right, y'all, thank you so much. My name is Joe Barksdale. On social media, that's at JBDale72, JBDALE72 on Twitter and Instagram. And then the whole time I'm talking, not a single person pulls out their phone.
It's right.
I'm just
thank you.
I'm up here wasting time. Like, when people say that, I'm always like, bro, just say your name and have people Google you. Because
that's it.
That's how it works. Like,
yes.
Even if I told you, hey, it's Joe Barksdale. Oh, okay, cool. I'll just Google him later. As opposed to J_.
Yes.
/ like.
Yes.
You know.
Get out my phone. Okay, say that again? No.
Yeah, like.
Exactly.
Nobody's that good. And if you are that good, I already know who you are.
Right? True? Very true. Oh, man. Joe, you're amazing, bro. Listen, Joe Barksdale, on behalf of Body Scope of New York, my nonprofit, and 6 Weeks of Fitness, I truly want to thank you for coming on the show today.
Oh, thank you for having me, man. I hope I said something.
You said a lot, my brother.
Said a lot. Now I'm going to be with a therapist.
Well, I'm saying you said a lot, and the thing, I do believe that just you being who you are, it's going to give people more inspiration, man, to want to be who they are. You know what I'm saying? To keep it real. Yeah, man.
Yeah, no one, I mean, it's in that Dr. Seuss book. Today you are you. That's truly true. There's no one in the world who can be a better you than you. It doesn't go that way. I just butchered it, but it's something like that.
Something like that, you know? There's also a quote from the philosopher, the personal development guy, Jim Rohn. He said, be yourself because everyone else is taken.
There you go.
Right? Basically, that's it. So be who you are. So to my listeners, I truly hope this program was informative, inspiring, and encouraging, that you will continue tuning in to my 6 Weeks of Fitness podcast. And if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions for the show, please leave them in the comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. And remember, we don't stop exercising because we grow old. We grow old because we stop exercising.
That's true.
Peace.